These developments we've been talking about with two key members of Congress who are just back from the Middle East, so we want to talk about Syria as well. House Intelligence Committee Chairman Mike Rogers and the top Democrat on the committee, Dutch Ruppersberger. Gentlemen, I just first have to ask you, Congressman, what's your reaction to this, what we're hearing here?
On the Benghazi investigation?
Yes.
Well, each committee has taken up the charge within their lane. So our committee is doing the intelligence piece of this. And we issued an interim report, meaning the investigation's not over. And we're finding that there are more individuals who are willing to come forward as the investigation unfolds. So there are some areas, obviously, that are concerning. I will tell you that it's very clear to me that there were some catastrophic decisions made by folks in the State Department that contributed to the death, meaning they didn't take the appropriate security.
Well, is that what it seems to you has happened here, that they tried to change this story so they could avoid criticism that they had disregarded requests for more security out there?
Well, the investigation is still ongoing. I can tell you, just from the interim place, somebody made some very bad decisions on the security posture in Libya. It was deteriorating. The intelligence community did provide accurate information that the situation was deteriorating. It looked bad. It certainly didn't seem at this point in the investigation that the State Department even acknowledged that and went a different direction. That, I think, contributed to the
Congressman, you're the ranking Democrat on intelligence. What's your take?
Well, first thing, it was a very serious situation when we lose American lives. We're in the investigative stage right now. It's extremely important. I think that we have to wait until the facts come through. I applaud the fact that there's an open hearing. You want to hear from both sides. And then what the important issue is that we look at why it happened, how it happened, and to make sure it doesn't happen again so that we can protect our men and women who are in other parts of the world and who are in danger even now. The most important issue, though, too, and I think the preliminary report that Mike was talking about, from an intelligence perspective, which Mike and I oversee the intelligence community, that there was not an intelligence failure, that we didn't have information ahead of time as it related to this incident.
In other words, what you're saying is we knew that the security situation was pretty serious out there, and did the State Department, from what you can tell now, just ignore those calls for more help?
I'm not saying that at all, that we knew. I'm saying that we've got to get the facts. You know, we have a large part of the world where we have people throughout the world who are attempting to work with other countries to protect American interests, and that's very relevant and important. This is a very volatile area. Things changed as we went through. Just in the beginning, we were talking, there's an issue where the talking points changed, that we changed the situation. Well, it was an attack. It was a volatile situation. A lot of the same information that we received initially had to change. And the information and talking points that went to Ambassador Wright. She used talking points that we all got in the very beginning, the first couple of days. I believe General Petraeus.
But it appears those talking points were dead wrong.
At the time, as it turns out, it is. And that's what an investigation is about. Let's get the facts. This should not be a partisan issue at all. This should be to get the facts, an open issue, and to hear from everybody. And when you hear allegations that people are told not to talk, I would hope that those issues would come out. And if that's the case, then we should be held accountable.
You're just back from the Middle East. New reports this morning that overnight the Israelis bombed again in Syria. How is the situation there, Mr. Chairman?
I think it's deteriorating by the day. You have Hezbollah is now moving troops, Hezbollah troops, financed by Iran, across Syria. They're engaged in the fight to protect the Assad regime. You have the al-Nusra Front, which is an al-Qaeda front organization, in the thousands showing up. And they're arguing now that if this continues, you could have in excess of 10,000 foreign fighters pouring into the country across the course of a year. You have Hamas elements there. Everybody wants to get their hands on chemical and more sophisticated conventional weapons. Refugees destabilizing the entire region. This is as bad a situation as I have seen in a long time that has an opportunity to cascade.
Did the Israeli strikes, have they escalated this? Did the Israelis do what they should have done? What do you think?
Well, first thing, I can't discuss anything about the Israeli strikes, but I will say this. Israel has the right to defend themselves at all times, and they're in a very volatile area. And I agree with Mike Rogers that it is a serious situation in Syria. They're in a position now when if Assad, that regime, the Assad regime, will go down eventually. But what happens after that? As Mike said, you have the Al-Qaeda group, then you have the Hezbollah group, which is backed by Iran. When that situation, when he leaves, where are we going to be then?
Well, what do we do? What does the United States do at this point?
I do think we have some good options. We're going to have to play for the best worst option at this point. That's the bad news. We've waited such a long time. So our Arab League partners are already in Syria and trying to provide help to the opposition. I argue with U.S. leadership, and again, this is not boots on the ground, U.S. leadership through intelligence and training and other things, and coordination of their activities, which they're asking for, could be hugely helpful to bringing the regime down quicker, number one, and try to at least have a stabilizing force exist after this happens. And that's our biggest concern.
You know, President Obama said at one point, if he found out that the Syrians were using nerve gas or chemical weapons on their own people, that would be a game changer. That would be a red line. Congressman, do you think he's backed away from that now?
No, I don't think he's backed away. I think he understands that if we're going to be involved, that we have to make sure we all have all the facts and information. But we can't be the sheriff for the whole world. We have our own issues right now. Iraq, Afghanistan, we have sequestration, those type of issues. So when we move and make the move to get in, we have to do it with a coalition. The Arab coalition, the other countries in that area. We have resources that no other country has, and we have to make sure we use them. Some of the resources we have are the training of people fighting, and the intelligence. And also this issue about weapons. There are plenty of weapons in Syria right now on both sides. And it's a matter of coordinating those weapons and then making sure that they're used in the right way. But chemical weapons we have to deal with it. We will deal with it. And we do have information that there are chemical weapons that have been used.
And we've been saying for some time now, we believe that over the course of 2 years, small amounts of chemical weapons have been used. I think that's beyond a shadow of a doubt at this point. Yeah. And we really don't want to be the sheriff, but we do want to be the coach. That's where we can bring the most impact. And why this is important, if 8% of the trade goes through the Suez Canal, if this spills out of control, and that's worldwide trade, imagine what impact that has on prices here at home, on the economic development here at home. It's spilling over in the region right now. And it's led by Iran.
Yeah, would either of you consider setting up a no-fly zone using U.S. planes? You say no boots on the ground, but what about planes in the sky?
You can do a no-fly zone through better technology. You don't have to have planes flying over the sky. You need to knock out a few of those jet fighters when they're flying over delivering munitions on civilians in Syria. We have ways to do that without exposing our planes. That's the kind of no-fly zone that we can do and operate. And we do this through our partners, the Arab League, and that keeps boots from being on the ground. And I'll tell you, when a game changer when airplanes and helicopters start falling out of the sky.
All right, gentlemen, I wish we could go on. Thank you so much.